So I made a video talking about how when I came out of my toxic relationship, I realized a lot of the friendships around me were toxic as well, and I had to weed those out. There was a girl that I was best friends with. Now, a year prior to leaving my ex-husband, I was debating leaving him, and me and her actually went to go look in an apartment together. So this was not a rash decision. She knew I had a child and she knew I had a dog. So it's been a year since we first looked at apartments. It's a year later and I'm deciding I'm officially leaving. And she said she wants to move out of her parents' house, so we're gonna get a place together. She's like 23, 24, I'm 25, 26. And I said, okay, are you sure you want to get a place together? Because I can go and get a basement suite. I can get anything. I just need to get out of the house that we own together and I just want to be out on my own. But you don't have to do this. And she said, no, it's fine. I want to move out. And now, side note, she doesn't like dogs. She knows she does not like dogs. I have a 17-pound Chihuahua Terrier. She's met the dog. She's been to my house. She's been in my home. We were best friends. She helped throw my baby shower. So we finally find a place together. It is a 3-bedroom main floor apartment with a walkout. It was really nice. It basically had a yard. So we move in together and at first it's really great. Now she had a boyfriend that was on again, off again. I didn't really like him because of what she had told me about him, but I digress. They're on one of their offs, right? She starts dating this new guy. One of the rules that we had established before ever living together was I told her if we are going to live together, when I have my son in our apartment, I don't want men over. Like, it's fine if your boyfriend comes over, but I don't want any unknown men in our apartment, especially not if you're hooking up with them like that. I have to respect my son and my child, and if that's too much, I completely understand, but we don't have to live together. And she says, no, it's totally fine. I am okay with that. So we move in. It's a 3-bedroom place. My son gets a bedroom. I get a bedroom. She gets the master with an ensuite. And that we split the rent 50-50. We both have vehicles. We get our own parking spots. Now, one of the weird things that comes up within the first couple months of living there is, you're having a lot of late night chats because, she was one of my best friends. I would have considered her one of my best friends. We had been really close for a long time, but, you have those late night chats with someone. She tells me that she is a pathological liar. And that she wants to go to therapy to work on herself. And now when she tells me she's a pathological liar, she frames it like, I just lie for no reason. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. She's like, yeah, like even at work, I'll lie for absolutely no reason at all. And like, I don't really understand why I do it. Now, me not having clocked all the things going on around me, I didn't clock this. I was just like, oh, wow, she's confiding in me, right? Wrong. So one night I'm hanging out with a guy that I had been seeing since my marriage ended. And my phone starts blowing the fuck up, right? Blowing up like crazy. And I'm like, is something happening with my son? Like, he's with his dad, but I'm like, what's going on? So I look at the messages and this random girl messaged me on Instagram because I was following one of the guys she was kind of seeing. Okay. So she's kind of seeing this guy and I get messages from his baby mama. So it turns out he had basically beaten her black and blue, and anyone who was a woman that was on his friends list, she was messaging and saying, hey, have you been seeing him? This is what he did. He's trying to get bail. He's trying to get out. He's trying to head back to the United States. And I was like, oh, wow, that's wild. No, I'm not seeing him, but my roommate is. And I tell her, anyways, this guy had been over to our place like once or twice while my son wasn't there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's not my mess, not my drama. But I was a little bit thrown off that I was kind of getting pulled into something. But it's friends. Then she starts seeing another guy and another thing happens. And this just keeps happening. But she's back with her boyfriend, then broken up with her boyfriend, back with her boyfriend. Finally, one day, the boyfriend comes over. They're on again. He comes over and she's sitting there. And I said something, I came back from a date. And he goes, oh, like, how was your date? And it was good. And he goes, how did you meet him? And I said, Bumble. And his head snapped around and he looked at her and he's like, Bumble? You said you're on Bumble. And she goes, yeah, I'm on the friend side. And I'm sitting there going like, she'd been dating, but okay, not my business, not my drama. I'm not getting involved. So she goes, no, it's for friends. Like, there's another option. She's on that Bumble. And I clocked that as weird, but they're on again and they're scheduling fights. She would be like, oh, we have a phone call at 7 p.m. and she would go sit in her car and they would just scream at each other and then they would break up and then she would be dating a new guy. So she starts dating this one new guy. He's around enough that I felt like, I told her if he wants to come over when my son's here, like you guys they had been in a relationship for a little bit. So he actually comes over and helps us set up our Christmas tree. So he meets my son, helps set up the Christmas tree. He's a great guy. By all standards, he seems like a really nice person. Then she comes home one day and she tells me that she's going to be going on a trip with her ex, the one that she's on again, off again with. So she goes on this trip and I said, don't you think that your boyfriend's going to be a little upset that you're going on a trip with your ex-boyfriend? And she said, no, it's fine. We're just friends. She comes back and she's standing in my room and she's looking awkward, right? She's standing there and she's just got her hands in her pockets and she's like, I need to tell you something. And I was like, okay. And, she pulls out an engagement ring and she goes, we're engaged. And I actually burst into tears because I was like, the guy that you schedule fights with, The guy, like, especially if you know, if you see my video, like, I just came out of a toxic relationship and now you're getting engaged to the man that you're scheduling fights with, the one that's off again, or on again, that I'm having to listen to about all these things. And she goes, yeah, well, I just, he's gonna go to therapy, he's gonna do X, he's gonna do Y, he's gonna do Z. And I'm sitting there like sobbing, and I'm like, do you think that this is a good choice? Like, you just saw what I went through, you're gonna put yourself through that? Like, you want to be on the other end where I am? Like, I have to have a roommate now. Like, I'm a grown adult with a roommate and a child. Like, do you understand where this could lead you? Like, you're looking at it. She goes, no, he's different. I wouldn't think you had any issues if it wasn't for you talking about your ex. And like, it's totally the fact that you talk about your ex that brings up all these issues. And I was just like, okay. So then it's like a week later and I'm like, oh, did you tell your boyfriend about your fiance? No. Another week. Did you tell your boyfriend about your fiance? No. Then she tells me she went to a therapist, okay? She went to the therapist and she looked at the therapist and said, how do I tell my fiance that I've been cheating on him for the last 2-3 years? She comes into our apartment and tells me this. Now I'm sitting at the table. I damn near shit myself. I'm sitting here. She's standing there talking to me. She's telling me this with her engagement ring on and her little necklace that he just bought her fiance. And she's telling me, like, how do I tell my fiance that I've had a boyfriend for, the past couple months? And like, this bitch was telling me she had flown to Boston to sleep with a guy. She had flown to Texas to sleep with a guy. Every time she did it, she told me they broke up. They were never on again, off again. They were on the entire time. I was being lied to the entire time and being told shit that he had done to try and make me not like him. And then she was telling him shit about me to make him not like me, so he wouldn't want to come to our apartment. And so I wouldn't want to tell him. And then she's like, yeah, I think I'm going to move out. And I was like, what do you mean? We got a 3-bedroom place because you said you would stay here. And what her dad had said is, if you decide to move out, I'll pay 50% of what's remaining, like your rent. And she's like, no, that wasn't the deal. I'm not going to do that. So she fucks off, leaves me with her 3-bedroom apartment. Her fiance helps her move out. And then this bitch fucking tries to get me on the hook for like the apartment insurance. She got a discount on her car insurance by getting apartment insurance, and because she was canceling the apartment insurance, they wanted her to pay the difference in her car insurance, and she was trying to get me to pay it. Obviously I never did, because that was not my bill to pay, and I managed to get the 3-bedroom. They managed to move me into a 2-bedroom, but she was pathological lying to me too. The entire friendship that we had, that I thought was based off of like mutual trust and respect, she had lied the entire fucking time. So I think that was about almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And I would say it was maybe a year and a half ago, because her fiance isn't really a social media person. Like, finding him on social media is next to impossible. But I was going through my Facebook Messenger one day and realized at one point he had sent me a message about something. So I DM'd him and said, hey, I would like to tell you something. And we had a nice little chat on Instagram, and I informed him that the entire time that they were in a relationship, she was cheating on him repeatedly, like flying to other countries to cheat on him. And that is why I will not be friends with women who cheat on their partners, because how people do one thing is generally how they do most things. If they're willing to date a man, get in a committed relationship, tell him sweet nothings, tell him that she loves him, do you think that woman is going to have any more loyalty to you than she does to that man? Absolutely the fuck not. Especially not, because sometimes you have falling outs in relationships, and she's going to show you the same amount of respect that she shows her partner. Because right now you might be her bestie, you might be her good close friend. One day you might have a disagreement, and then she's going to treat you exactly how she treats those men.